everyone. Welcome to this episode of Ask Jenks, our social media series featuring you, our Jenks citizens. Today we have our amazing city planner, Marcae Hilton, who has been with the city for
5 years,
5 years. Amazing. We are here to talk a little bit about the downtown master plan today. So you may have heard some things on our social media or maybe our website about this downtown master plan, but we're going to get it from the source, the expert today. So let's maybe dive right in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So Marcae, thank you for being here. And you've been here for 5 years. And in these 5 years, I know there has been a lot going on with city planning. A lot. So we've talked about the comprehensive plan. We've talked about the UDO. We've talked about all these different things in planning. But now our focus has kind of shifted to this downtown master plan. So let's just get real simple first for us lay people. What, in kind of a broad overview, is a downtown master plan?
Sure. Thank you, Katie. I'm happy to be here today. And talking about the Jenks downtown is one of my favorite things.
I know.
We have a beautiful downtown. It is the two words I hear most often to describe it are charming and quaint. And so in order to protect that charm and the quaintness of downtown, it's very beneficial for a community to adopt a master plan. And what that does is gets the public involved. It gets, in this case, a consultant involved. And there were 3 parts to this particular plan. The first part was a parking analysis, an economic development analysis, and then the last part will be where we really jump in with the community, with the stakeholders, and talk about what does quaint look like, what does charming look like, how do we keep it, and identify those public pieces that are part of the built environment.
Okay, that was a great explanation. So going back to kind of the beginning of your explanation, you talked about a consultant. So what I have seen, we've put a little bit on social media and things, and their questions have come in of, well, why do we need a consultant? Why don't we just have city staff do it? Or why don't we just, why are we spending money on a consultant to do this? And I know this is a massive scope of work, but could you talk a little bit about why the several reasons that most places hire outside to come in and do work like this for a city?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a couple of reasons why. One reason is the planning staff at the city of Jenks is
party of one.
Yep, party of one. And I often say 1.5 because the city clerk assists me and does an incredible job, and I'm very grateful for his assistance.
Thank you, Brandon. We'll give him a little
Mr.
shout out.
Macy. So very important, but we have hard deadlines that we take care of every week. So I have legal notices that have to go out and reports that have to be written. I have presentations to make to the Planning Commission, to the Board of Adjustment, to the Technical Advisory Committee, to the Jenks City Council. So those take up a lot of time. And then when you're wanting to do a master plan, or when you want to really focus on an area, so we'll call it, even if we just called it the focus area for downtown, we started probably 5 years ago, maybe 4, looking at parking, for instance. And I went in and we had our GIS tech do some counts and kind of get us some data. And then it's very challenging to find the time to really analyze it and implement a parking strategy. And then when it comes to economic development, I think it's really important to know this is our main street. These are how many blocks we have. How many restaurants would be viable? How much office space would be viable for a town our size, for our demographics, for our location within the region? So you don't just look at our town. You also want to know, can we pull people from other communities? Can we pull people from Northwest Arkansas? How are we going to get other people here to spend their dollars for our city? And so that's where that economic development piece comes in. And I don't have the expertise for that.
Right.
And I think it's a very critical piece. When you look at other master plans in other communities, that's always one of the top legs of a plan. And then that third plan, which is the actual built environment, sure, I could probably work on that and get that a long ways, getting some development standards in place. But having a team that's fully devoted to that, and not trying to split the time between doing the legal work and answering calls from the community, talking to the public on different questions that they have. It's just instead of 1 year, it'd probably take me another 5 years to get it done.
Right. Well, and we like the 1 year plan.
I think 1 year is a good idea.
Yeah. No, that's great. So it sounds like what is happening is that we have a consultant that comes in and already came in actually and has done some things that if we had a staff of 20, we would be doing that. These parking analysis, these things
Absolutely,
like
sure.
this, things that we just need the data. We need
Mhm.
what is happening currently in our downtown and then what to be. And then I know that staff is also working with this consultant. So this consultant isn't coming in and going rogue and doing their own thing. It's
No.
constantly in communication with you, with our city leadership. So with public input, I know that that's kind of a broad term. So what does that mean in this project?
Okay. The public input portion is very critical, and I think it's usually the fun part, honestly, because it's where you're going to have that visual preference survey.
Mhm.
And there's usually some type of a board or some type of an actual online digital survey. Sometimes you may be able to participate at a festival or
Mhm.
a public event, and we'll make sure that all those dates and times are publicized well in advance.
Mhm.
Surveys will go out, and you'll be able to see, do you like this streetscape or do you like this streetscape? And um, do you prefer, maybe it's looking at light poles or banners or just anything that would have to do with the built environment for a main street and for that quaint and charming feel. How do we keep that alive? And which products, which parking styles, which colors, all of that.
Mhm.
Which one works best for our main street and our downtown?
All the fun stuff.
All the fun stuff.
Yeah.
It is the fun
It
stuff
is the
for
fun
sure.
stuff. But I think what's important to note in especially projects like this where we're implementing maybe major changes or major updates or
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that could be something that's in this that public input is so important in so many ways, but it's also can be confused sometimes with public input doesn't mean that everything that comes in can be implemented. So, I think we've talked about this before when this input, we want this community input and we want to know what does Jenks see for our downtown. But if, some of that input is saying things that is just not attainable or it just is not fitting with quaint and charming or what the majority says, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be implemented. But we can get that majority feedback and take those into consideration of what is lining up with the data that's showing us what
Right.
could be. Correct? Is that am
Mhm.
I okay? And so some opportunities for public input. We had talked about this. So workshops probably will be happening.
Absolutely.
There will be online availability for people that can't
Surveys,
make
yes.
in-person
Mhm.
stuff. And then we talked about maybe there'll be some opportunities at our different festivals and different public outings that will have a ton of people there. And so really a broad spectrum to get as much public input.
Absolutely.
Okay. I love that.
Anyone that participated in the Horizon Jinx, you'll probably find that it's very similar to some of the outreach that they did during that process.
Okay, and we'll ramp it up even. We'll make sure everyone is on our social media, like make sure you're following that for these updates.
Yes.
We'll, be sending out on our alert systems, the major in-person one. So I think that as long as you are staying in touch with Jinx, then you'll know about these events or these opportunities, I would say.
Absolutely. It's a very exciting time to be at Jinx.
Yes, that's very exciting. So let's talk about next steps. I know there's maybe a little announcement you have for April.
Yes.
Okay.
So we've got through the parking portion. We're still tying up some loose ends
Okay.
with Walter P. Moore. They were the parking consultants that were hired,
Mhm.
working with them to finalize the details of that report. Hunden was hired as a sub for the Beck design,
Mhm.
and they did the economic development analysis. I'm really glad they were hired, and I'm really happy with the product that they have
Mhm.
given us. It's a lot of data, Katie. It's a
Mhm.
lot of
Lots of stuff.
information. And that's the big announcement is they'll be making a presentation to Planning Commission in April.
Okay, great.
And then they'll also follow up in May with the city council. So I'm very excited about
That's
that.
exciting.
That'll be information that'll be made public. You can join us online on our YouTube station
Mhm.
and hear. They won't be in person at the Planning Commission. They'll be via Zoom at
Right.
that point or Teams. One of the
Okay.
but it'll be filmed and you'll be able to hear it and that
And
should
see and
Mhm.
then once that's up and loaded in public, we'll be able to probably give access to that on our website and
Yes.
things like that people can go and look at. So that's
Yes.
very exciting because I know some people really like to dive into that data.
I do, and
I
it's
love
a
it.
lot.
Yeah.
I will say there's a lot of pictures.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's more my speed.
Yeah, it's nice. There's a lot of photos. They just did a great job. I'm really excited for that data to be shared. And then lastly will be the public portion.
Yeah.
And which we talked about the infrastructure. So I think overall it was about a 1-year project and
Mhm.
we're about halfway through.
So exciting. Thank you for that update. It sounds like April 21st.
Mhm.
Big day to hear kind of
Yep.
some of this data.
Mhm.
And then public input will be after that. And I know there's next steps past that, but I'm sure that the public data or the public input will kind of guide some of those next steps,
will,
right?
yes.
Okay, so let's not even get into those weeds yet until we have more of, if that sounds.
I think it's a great idea. Let's focus on this upcoming
Yeah.
announcement from Hunden and getting that data out to
Yeah.
the public. And then I'm so happy to do the visual preference surveys and all of that. It's coming just around the bend.
We're excited. We love our downtown. I mean, it
I
is.
really do.
I know you very much love it. I love it. You and I are down there a lot. We like to walk around and see what's going on, and the businesses down there are just thriving right now. We love them. So, anyway, we are so happy you were here. We're excited about the downtown master plan.
Me too.
And then once we kind of get that data out there, we will push more of that public input opportunities to everyone. So thank you, Marcae, so much for being here. And
Yes, absolutely.
so for our community, we want public input for this. We know that the downtown is so important to most of us. When all of this comes out, we will have a graphic on our homepage at jenks.com that you can click, find all this information. We will also have updates on our social media, on our text alert system. So make sure you sign up for that on our homepage. And until next time, this is Ask Jenks.